this video, we'll check out the extraordinary musical number in the movie Up from 2009 by Disney and Pixar Studio. It's called Married Life, and it's a montage of about 4 minutes at the start of the movie of the whole life of this married couple with the ups and downs along the way. And they do it like a silent movie, so no spoken words at all, only the music to enhance the scenes. And it's very well done, so it's hard not to get emotional when you watch it. And since the music is so important, it works well on its own as well as like a proper musical movement, so I can cover it on this channel. So it's basically a waltz with quite limited thematic material, but a lot of variations in other dimensions, perhaps mostly the instrumentation and texture in the orchestration. So when we do a solo piano arrangement, we have less range of variations because it's the same tone everywhere, but we can still play different registers and vary the texture a lot. But I also shave off a few rounds of the theme in the end for a music-only performance, because you've heard it enough throughout the movement. Now, the first thing about this music is the major 7th chord. F major 7. And it's really easy to feel this like nostalgia, a mixed feeling, because it has both sides of a happy memory, happy times, but also the absence of that, because it's not anymore, the missing, the longing for that, a pain that it's not here anymore. And you can fit this in this one chord, the major 7th chord, if you think that it consists of a major part, the F major, like a happy chord, and a minor chord, the A minor, which is the sad chord. I mean, it's a bit reductive to call it just happy and sad, because music combines this and makes it very much more complex emotions and things, and this is one way of them. So if you combine these, as it happens, they have 2 notes in common, so this is why it works. Major and minor. You get this chord, and you can feel both things, I think, as a complex emotion, which is why it works so well in the music. So this is basically just elaborating, going down, and then the next chord is a very exciting chord in contrast to the subdued major. It's a 7th chord, a G7, or the A is the 9 extension. But the thing is, going from this F major 7 within F major tonality to the G7 is a secondary dominant, because it's not part of the F scale, F major scale. So it points somewhere new, and it's very exciting. And it points to C, so what we get here. Here we get the major 7, C major 7, just in passing here. On the way to C7, that points back to F. And C. So just going back this round. So the melody has been going down for the whole time, and then for the final part of it, it points up again, and we get a really nice swelling in the orchestra. So pointing to F. Now, the other thing about this music that's very important, so more than just the change of instruments, is the articulation when the instruments play as melody instruments. And a lot of piano arrangement doesn't pay enough attention to this, in my opinion. So just take the first phrase. Here. If you just play the note values, you have these quarter notes, and it's good music, but it's still not as interesting as it is if you do the articulation right. So just straight quarter notes. But if you listen to how they actually do it, so it's a muted trumpet in the beginning, just a lovely sound that, but also with this super short notes and different articulation, not on the beat, so it sounds like this. And also the little glissando, it's not natural to do on the piano, but you can do it. You just add these super soft notes. So it's really big difference. Let's compare it again. and. So it's a bit quirky because you have these beats, emphasis on not the first beats, and it makes it really interesting. Also when the violin comes in, so the second time the theme comes, it's on a solo violin, like really sunny and beautiful. So the violin only does a glissando between the F and the D, but I mean, why not add the G? I actually saw this in another arrangement kind of version, but why not add all these? Because you play it, you make it for the piano hand, which is 5 notes. It's so nice to play it like that. It's actually a little bit of variation when the violin comes in. It moves up, but it's the same chord. So here is the first section comes back again up in the high register. This is like, it sounds like either Celesta or some kind of glockenspiel piano, but it feels very much piano sound in the orchestra here. But before that we have this other part that comes in, that's like a second part. So the first part with a theme that starts in F major 7, that comes a lot of the times throughout the work. Like as life progresses, you get different versions of this. And the second part only comes less often, so it's a really nice variation as an episode. It's a lot of the same ideas, the quirky melody writing, but the harmony is a little bit different. So we get some kind of sequence first. So on the C7 going to F7, but it's interrupted with a D7 as a secondary dominant, points to G7. It points back to C7. So we get this circular fifth progression, D7 to G7 to C7. And this final, it's still the dominant, C dominant pointing to F, but here it's the C augmented, like a nice pause, something different. Maybe it's something more to say about this. It's played by a muted trombone, I think. So I think like the violin maybe symbolizes what's Ellie, I think is the name of the wife, Carl and Ellie. Like sunny feminine energy, and then the muted brass is more of Carl's character. They're still quite young here, and yeah, there's a lovely sequence with he sells balloons, and the cart where he sells balloons starts to fly because of the helium. And then he grabs it down, and it's written in the music with these going up and down. Like he grabs the cart and pulls it down, because it's so much of the theme of the whole movie about using balloons to fly. Nice trace seed in the beginning there. If we look at the structure of the composition now, we've heard the first part 1-2 times, and then the second part, and then the first part again. And after this we get a bigger change in character. So it starts to slow down. On this ending part. So here in the story they have met and got married and got a house and everything, and she starts to think about babies. That's the next step. And like he realized, oh, should we make babies now? That's the male realization. And everything looks good, but then it slows down a lot. And disaster strikes. It turns out she can't have babies. It's a scene at the doctor, and it's incredibly sad and emotional, and musically we just get the basic melody, but very slow version. And this is originally comes on piano as well. So it slows down the tempo like to half and just still chords. The major 7 chord. It's all the same material, but very big contrasting character. But then after they realize this, they just basically goes on to live the best lives they can, and this is a lovely accelerando. We get a nice voice underneath here. So now the pointing upward part in the end, it feels like you can recover from that situation in life and live a good life anyway, I think is a message. And here we get like, there's more of a proper recapitulation of the theme, because it's the muted trumpet again. And like mostly the way it's first presented. Also you can do the glissando on piano in this way. Then it's the B part again. So basically life goes on and it grows to a kind of climax. And basically enjoy it while it lasts. It's what music say. Here I have cut because in the original scene there are a few more rounds of the theme that's like in different instruments, but I think for the piano version this is a good way to segue to the next part that's more change again. And ultimately it doesn't last any longer. There's a nice modulation here, by the way. To G major. So now, spoiler alert here again. Should have said spoiler alert before, but in the end, well, now they've grown old, they've lived their happy married life, and she gets ill, and he has to take care of her, so we get the slow, sad version again, and it's piano, and it's in G major, and it's in the high register. It's the same harmony and everything. So these chords are not in the original, they're mine. I like to add them like as a nice way. You don't have to play them, of course, but I mean, why not? Really long still chord here. And now a little bit of change in the harmony. So it's basically you need a different track to end on the tonic and not laying up to point to a continuation where the theme comes back, because now for the final time the theme doesn't come back. So this is another major 7th chord on C. So we're in G major, so it's the major 7 on the 4th scale degree going to the dominant, but with a really nice voicing to have the 7 in the bass and resolving to G, the tonic, and the G major 7, of course. And just ending the piece in a very slow and emotional way. So this is I mean, the montage ends here, and then the movie takes off and tells the whole adventure of this old man Carl going on the adventure of his life that he couldn't do with his wife. And that's it for this episode. You can see me play the arrangement in a separate video. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and the Patreon shoutout goes to S. Holmes.